All right, let's talk digital foundations today. We've got a stack of sources you sent over looking into something that maybe sounds simpler than it is.
Yeah, matching your business name with your domain name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're really diving into these, especially some excerpts from a piece called Brand Name and Domain Synergy for Digital Success.
That's the plan. And really, our mission here is to, get past the surface level. We want to pull out the key insights from what we've been given and figure out why this link, which, seems technical, is actually like a core strategic thing for doing well online.
Okay, let's unpack that then. The sources seem to start with this pretty fundamental idea, digital identity. And they call it the digital front door.
They do, yeah. They put it quite clearly. Your business name, that's your identity. It's who you are, your brand.
Right.
And the domain name, that's literally the address, the digital doorway people use to find that identity online. And the sources really stress that these two, they have to line up. They need to work together, reflect the brand's voice, its vision, and, just look professional.
And according to these sources, like the one from WBMS web developers, this isn't just about looking good. They're saying it actually impacts things.
Oh, definitely. They stated explicitly this alignment boosts credibility, visibility, and even conversion rates, tangible stuff.
Okay, think about that first impression online. For a lot of businesses now, the website is the first handshake, right?
Absolutely. And if someone hears about, say, Acme Solutions, but then they click a link or type in something like solutionspro.net, well, there's immediate friction there.
A little bit of doubt creeps in.
Exactly. That tiny moment of, wait, is this the right place? That can be enough to make them just click away.
It reminds me of that comparison one source made, like getting a really slick business card. But the website printed on it points to a totally different sounding address. It just feels off.
It completely undermines trust instantly. Precision matters here. Consistency is just, critical for building that trust online.
So the sources push hard for getting a domain name that's an exact match, or at least super close to the brand name.
Strongly advocate for it, yes. As close as you possibly can get.
So, based on what you pulled from the source material, what do they say makes a good domain name? What are the key things?
They list a few essentials. First off, it's got to be memorable. Easy to remember, easy to spell, easy to type.
Makes sense. If people can't find you easily,
then nothing else matters, right? Second, it has to be brand aligned. It should clearly reflect your business name and ideally what you do.
Okay.
Third, professionalism. This comes up a lot. The sources warn against using those free domain suffixes or throwing in unrelated words. It just erodes trust, makes you look amateur.
Which is the opposite of what you want if you're trying to build authority.
Totally. And then finally, they touch on it being ideally SEO friendly, maybe containing keywords or brand elements that help a bit with search rankings.
Okay, let's dig into that SEO and marketing angle a bit more. That feels like a really central argument in these sources. How does just having a matching domain actually help with search engines or marketing?
Well, the way the sources explain it, search engines like Google are getting smarter about understanding entities, real world businesses, brands.
Right, not just keywords.
Exactly. So when your domain name directly mirrors your business name, and that name is used consistently everywhere on your site, your social media, directories, even your email, it sends this really strong signal of legitimacy, of authority. It tells Google, yep, this is a real cohesive thing.
So it's less about stuffing keywords in the domain now and more about the domain acting as proof of the brand's existence.
That's a really good way to put it, yeah. It helps the search engines connect all those online dots back to your single identifiable brand.
Okay.
And this consistency, it helps build that authority quicker. And yes, it can definitely contribute to ranking higher for your brand name in related searches. Drives that organic traffic.
And what about the human element? Beyond the search bots, how does it affect people trying to find you or deciding whether to trust you?
Well, that same consistency translates directly into user experience and, crucially, trust. The sources point out, for instance, a professional email like info@yourbrand.com just feels way more trustworthy than, say, info.yourbrand@genericmail.com.
Oh, definitely. Big difference.
Huge. It makes your email marketing look better, makes your social profiles feel genuinely connected. It just reduces the mental effort for users. They see the brand, they see the domain, they match, okay, I'm in the right place.
Less confusion, more confidence.
Exactly, which improves click-through rates from ads, from search results, and fundamentally just makes it easier for customers to remember you and come back later.
The source material you shared uses a couple examples. They mentioned WBMS web developers themselves, right?
Yes, they use themselves as a sort of case study in the source material. They point to their domain, websitebuilder.marketshoppy.com.
Bit of a mouthful.
It is, but they explain it's designed to reflect their services, website building, marketplace shopping tools, and it abbreviates to WBMS.
Oh.
So the source uses this to show how even a slightly longer domain structure can be aligned with services and branding to create that cohesive feel. They aim to integrate their services under this aligned domain.
And they apparently do the same with their app. The WBMS Web Developers app also uses WBMS.
Right, that's what the source indicates. It's about applying that principle they recommend, keep the brand consistent across all the places people interact with you, web, mobile, emails.
And to show the flip side, they use a simple hypothetical: elegant interiors.
Yeah, it's a classic way to show the problem. The source contrasts a really poor choice, like elegant123.webfree.com.
Cringeworthy.
Totally confusing, unprofessional, trust just evaporates. And they contrast that with strong options like elegantinteriors.com or maybe elegantinteriors.in.
And just hearing those options side by side, you instantly feel the difference in credibility, don't you?
Absolutely. It really drives home the real-world impact of getting that professional alignment right, which is what they say they help businesses do. It just highlights why nailing the domain early on is so important.
Which brings up another key point.
Mm-hmm.
The source really hammers home.
Yeah.
This isn't something you figure out later.
No, not at all. They're very clear. Getting the right domain needs to be part of your digital strategy from day one.
Foundational.
Foundational, exactly, not an add-on. Because trying to fix a domain mismatch after you've already built a brand and online presence around it, that's a much, much harder fix.
And the source material also briefly mentions the kinds of services they offer around this, just for context.
Yeah, they give that context, saying that as part of helping businesses get this right, they assist with, choosing and securing the domains, designing websites and apps that match, creating branding elements like logos, QR codes.
The whole package.
Pretty much. Ensuring it all looks and feels cohesive across web, mobile, social media. Their argument is that when all these pieces work together smoothly, the business just looks more established, more trustworthy, more professional.
Right.
And the source does mention their suite includes domains, websites, apps, branding, even video creation and social media growth, all under one roof.
Gotcha. And the source itself included contact details, a phone and WhatsApp number, plus 91-888-228-7267, and an email. Website, builder.tech@gmail.com. That's just reporting what's in the source.
Correct. It's presented in the material, reinforcing their view that this domain and branding alignment is a central part of the digital strategy services they offer.
Okay, so let's pull this all together then. Based on everything in these sources you've shared, why is this alignment between the business name and the domain name so much more than just like a technical detail?
Because at the end of the day, your domain name is your digital brand identity. It's really the cornerstone of how you show up online. Getting it right, aligning it with your business name from the get-go, it just builds such a strong foundation. It helps with digital growth, it builds that instant brand recognition, and maybe most importantly online today, it establishes crucial customer trust from the very first click.
So we've really unpacked that critical connection between your business name and your domain name. We looked at why it's so important for first impressions, for building trust, for SEO, and just for overall brand strategy, all coming directly from the source materials you provided.
Yeah, and what's really striking, I think, is how something that feels so technical, like a web address, how it carries so much weight in shaping the actual identity and the perceived trustworthiness of a brand online.
It really does. And this brings up a bigger question, maybe something for you listening to think about. If we step outside just business and commerce, how does this idea, this perception of consistency across any digital presence domain, website, email, social handles, how does that influence trust and authority elsewhere?
Good question.
Think about personal branding. Maybe someone trying to share information, or even, say, academics establishing their presence online, or nonprofits. Where else does this principle of alignment, or the lack of it, really build or break down trust in the digital world? Something to chew on.